Hello, everyone. So, my name is Abhilasha, and I'm going to be taking you through some very interesting concepts of CSAT. So, welcome, everyone. If you can see me and hear me, can you give me a quick yes or no so that I know that I'm audible and visible and that all of you have already joined me? तो अगर जितने भी लोग इधर आ चुके हैं ज्वाइन कर चुके हैं तो प्लीज हेलो बोल दो चैट बॉक्स में यू कैन सेंड अ हाय और यू कैन सेंड सम सॉर्ट ऑफ अ मैसेज सो आई नो दैट यूर available here. Also, अगर आप आ चुके हैं and if you've already joined the session, then can you also please share the session with your friends and family so other people can also take advantage and come and join us. Remember to hit the like button before you do anything else. In today's session, we are going to be talking about CSAT. लास्ट सेशन में हम बात ऑलरेडी कर चुके हैं सी सैट के पैटर्न की सी सैट में क्या क्या आता है एटलीस्ट इंग्लिश के सेक्शन में क्या क्या आता है वी हैव स्पोकन अबाउट दैट तो हमने बात करी थी आरसी में कौन से क्वेश्चन टाइप्स आते हैं कौन से जॉनरास आते हैं हम ये सब डिस्कस कर चुके हैं तो इन टुडेज सेशन एंड इन सब्सिक्वेंट सेशंस आज और आज के बाद वाले जितने भी सेशंस होंगे उसमें हम डिस्कस करेंगे रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन के डिफरेंट फैसेट्स. So what does that mean? जब मैं कहती हूँ कि रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन के डिफरेंट फैसेट्स डिस्कस करेंगे तो मतलब है कि हम डिस्कस करेंगे डिफरेंट तरीके के पैसेजेस क्योंकि सी सैट में बहुत अलग अलग तरीके के पैसेजेस आते हैं देयर आर मेनी डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ पैसेजेस दैट आर पार्ट ऑफ द सी सैट सो वी विल डिस्कस ऑल द डिफरेंट जॉनरास. ठीक है, जॉनरास मतलब कौन से एरिया से आपका पैसेज आ रहा है. Then we will also cover the different types of questions that are part of your exam. So you have inferential questions, you have assumption questions, you have main idea questions, you have topic questions, you have fact-based questions. So we will cover different types of questions in CSAT. And subsequently, I'll also help you practice different types of questions. तो हम पहले हम क्वेश्चन टाइप सीखेंगे हम जॉनरा सीखेंगे हम प्रैक्टिस भी करेंगे तो ये सारा ही कुछ वी विल बी कवरिंग ऑन यूट्यूब विद यू गाइज आई होप यू विल जॉइन मी एवरी वीक एट दिस टाइम एंड दैट वी विल हैव अ लॉट ऑफ फन टुगेदर. ओके, सो प्लीज मेक श्योर दैट यू आर जॉइनिंग इन. हर हफ्ते हम एक सेशन दे रहे हैं जिसमें मैं रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन की बात करूंगी और हम डिस्कस करेंगे डिफरेंट कॉन्सेप्ट्स ऑफ रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन. ऑलराइट, आई होप अभी तक सबने लाइक कर दिया होगा सेशन को और शेयर भी कर दिया होगा. इफ यू हैवंट शेयर प्लीज मेक श्योर दैट यू शेयर एंड आल्सो हिट द बेल आइकन. बेल आइकन सब हिट करने से क्या होगा कि आपको नोटिफिकेशंस भी आएंगे फर्दर सेशंस के. सब्सक्राइब सब लोग कर लीजिए क्योंकि विदाउट सब्सक्रिप्शन यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू पार्टिसिपेट इन द चैट बॉक्स. ऑलराइट, लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड गाइस. लेट्स नॉट वेस्ट एनी मोर टाइम. फटाफट से सेशन स्टार्ट कर देते हैं और बात करते हैं आज के सेशन की. सो टुडेज सेशन इज एन आरसी प्रैक्टिस सेशन where I'm going to be talking about identifying key ideas of sentences. हम लोग sentences को उठाएंगे और उनके की आइडियाज क्या हैं उनको पहचानने की कोशिश करेंगे एंड ऑल्सो आई विल टेस्ट यू ऑन सम क्वेश्चंस. तो मैंने कुछ क्वेश्चंस बनाए हैं. इन क्वेश्चंस पे हम टेस्ट करेंगे कि की आइडियाज हम आइडेंटिफाई कर रहे हैं या नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. So that's the purpose of today's session. I hope you're going to have fun. We are going to be learning a lot of things, exciting stuff on this series where we are going to be talking about reading comprehension for CSAT. All right, let's get started. Let's not waste any more time. फटाफट से चालू कर देते हैं आज का सेशन. Like I said, remember to hit like, share, and subscribe. This is the very, very important for us. Of course, your likes, my life. So like, share, and subscribe, and of course, hit the bell icon also. All right. So I do have 13 questions. Yeah, that's a very odd number. बट फिर भी 13 ही क्वेश्चंस बना पाए या बनाए और बहुत अच्छे क्वेश्चंस हैं. दीज क्वेश्चंस आर कमिंग फ्रॉम द पास्ट ईयर सीसैट पेपर्स. So what I have done is I have taken a couple of passages from last year CSAT and I have created a few other questions based on those. So we will try and answer those questions also. Okay. So pehle let us try and read the passage. I'll give you a minute or two to read the passage. I'll explain the passage to you and then we will do the question subsequently. So I'm going to mute myself for a minute and we will read the passage and then I'll explain the passage to you. So here is your 1 minute starting now. Please read the passage. All right, everyone, let's read the passage together and we'll try and understand what each line says. So, the first says, by the time children reach class 8, the bulk of them tend to be in the age range of 13 to 15 years. So, यहाँ हम कह रहे हैं कि जब तक चिल्ड्रन क्लास 8 में पहुंचते हैं, when they reach class 8, the most of them, bulk of them means most of them are in the age group of 13 to 15 years. So in class 8, most of the children would be 13 to 15 years, right? But in our country, now remember, whenever you have a but yet or however, that is the one that shows some sort of a contrast. Okay, so it says that, okay, whatever I have said, whatever the author has said till now is not right, something else is right. Okay, so he says, but in our country, about a quarter of all children, that means 25% of the children in class 8 are struggling with simple text, and more than half, 50%, are unable to do basic maths. So we are struggling. Every year, about 25 million young boys and girls from elementary school move into the life that lies for them beyond compulsory schooling. So they move out of elementary to the middle school, but that is not compulsory for them. They cannot enter the workforce, at least in the organized sector, till they are 18. So they're not, वो काम नहीं कर सकते 18 तक. For many families, these children are the first from their family to ever get this far in school. So बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे हैं जो अपने फैमिली में पहली बार स्कूल जा रहे हैं या इतने आगे तक आए हैं. तो parents and children expect that such graduates from school will go on to high school and college. So families are expecting, parents are expecting that they will go to high school. So 8th, 9th onwards, they will study 9 to 12 and then subsequently to college also. But is that really going to be true? Hardly anyone goes back to agriculture. So nobody is going back to agriculture. So they're not going to go to farming, which is their traditional occupation. उनका खुद का family occupation वही है, लेकिन वो नहीं करेंगे. On the other hand, but लेकिन abilities in terms of academic competencies are far lower than they should be, even based on curricular expectations of class 8. So वो उनके फैमिली सोच रहे हैं वो बहुत पढ़ लिए हैं, उनको खुद भी लग रहा है वो बहुत पढ़ लिए, 8 तक पढ़ चुके हैं, वो फार्मिंग करना नहीं चाहते जो उनका एक्चुअल बैकग्राउंड है, बट उनकी एकेडमिक कॉम्पिटेंसीज क्लास 8 के लेवल की भी नहीं है. तो can they really go into class 9th or can they really go into high school and do anything? So that's the question that the passage is asking. All right, let's take a look at our question. Question number 1 here says, what is the typical age range of students in class 8? Very clearly, we know that they tend to be in the age range of 13 to 15 years, right? We've got this very clearly mentioned. So students in class 8 are usually between 13 and 15 years, not 10 and 12, not 15 to 18, and not under 10. So clearly the correct answer was there between 13 and 15 years of age. All right, let's go to the next question. The second question is, what academic challenges do many class 8 students face in the country? So what are the academic challenges that they are facing? Personal challenges we don't really care about, but they have academic challenges. Let's take a look. It says many class 8 students struggle with reading and basic arithmetic such as division. Most class 8 students excel in both reading and arithmetic operations. Now, this is the exact opposite of what the passage had said. Passage said they're struggling, so that they excel, we cannot really say. All class 8 students face no difficulty in reading or performing arithmetic operations. This is an extreme option. तो इसलिए ये भी नहीं हो सकता है. Let's look at the next one. Half of class 8 students are proficient. Again, proficient means they're very good, बहुत अच्छे हैं, but हमारे passage ने तो कहा है उनको आता ही नहीं है, वो struggle कर रहे होते हैं. So 4 भी नहीं हो सकता है. So 2, 3, 4 don't work as options. इनका काम नहीं चलेगा. तो option number 1 will be the correct answer. This part of the passage, the first paragraph, the second line, which started with the but in our country, a quarter of all children are struggling with reading text and more than half are unable to do basic arithmetic operations. That is the academic challenge that the class 8 student is facing. And therefore, your correct answer, guys, will be option number 1. Okay, so that's your answer. Let's look at the next question. Question number 3 says, how many children transition from elementary school beyond compulsory education each year? Now, again, this was something that was mentioned very, very clearly in the passage. So you had to simply read and spot your answer. Approximately 25 million children move beyond elementary school every year. Over 100 million children graduate from compulsory schooling. No. Less than a million children. No. We have very clearly said, and no students is too extreme. So the correct answer is going to be option number 1. And this was mentioned very clearly. ये यहाँ पे mentioned है, देख सकते हैं हम लोग. Every year, about 25 million young boys and girls are graduating from elementary school into the non-compulsory schooling. So correct answer will be option number 1, which is approximately 25 million, right? Okay. All right. Let's look at the next one. When can children legally enter the organized sector workforce? So again, this is something from the passage. We know this. These are all questions which are testing you on knowledge from the passage. So look, now we know very clearly this part of the passage had said they cannot enter the workforce till they are 18. So therefore, we'll look for an answer which says that option number 2 which said 13, option number 3 which said 15, and option number 4 which said no restrictions are all incorrect. The correct answer will be option number 1 which said children can join the organized workforce after the age of 18. Okay, I hope you got that. Let's look at the next one. What significance does education hold for many families regarding children in class 8? So what's so special about these children that they have studied till class 8? What is the special thing about these children? Now, the special thing is that, and it's mentioned here in the passage, that they are the first from their families ever to get this far. Probably their parents haven't studied, they've never gone to school. If they have, they've dropped out at a much younger age or in a much लोअर क्लास. तो ये वाले बच्चों का पढ़ाई के लिए जो सिग्निफिकेंस है क्या है, क्वेश्चन बहुत क्लियर है, that they are the first in their families. So take a look. These children are often the first in their families to reach this level of education. Children typically drop out before reaching class 8. Okay. Families do not value education. Well, we don't know if they value or they don't value. Education has no impact on family expectations. So if you look at these, there are two options that are very close. We can clearly eliminate option 3 and 4, but options 1 and 2 are very, very close, right? So one कहता है कि children are often the first in their families to reach this level, and 2 says that children typically drop out before reaching class 8. But the passage does not say that it doesn't talk about the dropping out. It talks about people joining school. So therefore, between 1 and 2 also, 1 is a better choice of answer. Okay. I'm not saying 2 is incorrect. Please understand, if 1 was not there, अगर 1 नहीं होता तो 2 जरूर correct answer होता. But क्योंकि 1 है तो 1 will be a better answer. अगले question पे चलते हैं. Let's take a look. Based on the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. Assumption number 1 says, for effective school education, parents have a greater role than the governments. And option number 2 says, school curriculum that conforms to today's requirements and is uniform for the entire country may address the issues brought out. Now, we are assuming that these are true, and that is why the passage is true. Please understand, assumption क्या होता है? Assumption वो चीज होती है जिसे सच होना होता है आपके आर्ग्यूमेंट को सच होने के लिए. तो अभी अगर हम ऑप्शन नंबर 1 को देखें, जो कह रहा है कि अगर इफेक्टिव स्कूल एजुकेशन चाहिए तो पेरेंट्स का एक बड़ा रोल होगा और गवर्नमेंट से ज्यादा बड़ा रोल होगा. अब हमारे पैसेज में तो वी हैव नॉट इवन स्पोकन अबाउट गवर्नमेंट. We have not said whose role will be bigger, right? So this comparison between the role of the parents and the government, ये तो कहीं दिया ही नहीं है. ना ये आप अज्यूम कर सकते हैं, पैसेज में ऐसी कोई बात ही नहीं कही है. और सबसे अच्छा टेस्ट होता है कोई अजम्पशन देखने का, वो होता है निगेशन. तो आप क्या करो, सबसे आसान है, इसको निगेट कर दो कि इफेक्टिव स्कूल एजुकेशन के लिए पेरेंट्स का रोल छोटा होता है गवर्नमेंट से. अब बड़ा होता है छोटा होता है उससे इस पैसेज पे क्या ही इम्पैक्ट हो रहा है, नहीं हो रहा है, एंड दैट्स व्हाई वन कैन नॉट बी द राइट आंसर. लुक एट 2. School curriculum that conforms to today's requirements and is uniform for the entire country may address the issues brought out. Again, इसको भी negate कर देते हैं. May not address the issues brought out. फिर भी कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है क्योंकि may is a possibility. So is that an assumption? No. So I will eliminate option 2 also. तो मेरा correct answer होगा D, which says neither 1 nor 2 दोनों ही assume नहीं किए जा सकते. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Now, which one of the following statement best reflects the central idea conveyed by the passage? तो passage किस चीज के बारे में बात कर रहा है? Passage बात कर रहा था education की. Passage बात कर रहा था कि वो बच्चे जो 8th के बाद आगे जाते हैं उनको ज्यादा चीजें नहीं आती हैं. उनकी फैमिली को लगता है कि ये बहुत पढ़ लिया है, बट वो एक्चुअल में उन्हें बेसिक रीडिंग नहीं आती, उन्हें बेसिक नंबर्स नहीं आते हैं. ठीक है. So let's take a look at our options and see कौन सा ऑप्शन सही होगा. ऑप्शन 1 कहता है total eradication of poverty will resolve the issue of underperformance of our school children. तो गरीबी पॉवर्टी हटा देने से, इराडिकेशन मीन्स हटा देना, सो टोटल इराडिकेशन ऑफ पॉवर्टी दैट विल रिजॉल्व. ये कैसे पता चला कि पॉवर्टी इज leading to underperformance? We don't know this connection, so therefore this connection cannot also be the main idea of the passage. So let's eliminate. Remember, poverty was not spoken about. Agricultural families was spoken about. Poverty was not spoken about. So that cannot be the central idea. तो सेंट्रल आइडिया नहीं हो सकता. सेंट्रल आइडिया क्या है? इस पैसेज में हर वो चीज जो बात की है उसको एक जगह रख करके उसको इकट्ठा करना है ना. ऑप्शन 2 देखो. Monetary incentives to parents and teachers is a strategy to improve the children's academic performance. पेरेंट्स एंड टीचर्स को पैसे देना, उससे बच्चों का एकेडमिक परफॉर्मेंस इंप्रूव होगा. बट द पैसेज डिड नॉट से एनीथिंग लाइक दैट. डिड द पैसेज इवन से दैट मॉनेटरी इंसेंटिव्स दिए जाएं? अब ये तो आप अज्यूम कर ले रहे हैं ना, ये तो कोई और ही कंक्लूजन पे पहुंच गए हैं. पैसेज ने ऐसी कोई बात नहीं की है. प्लीज रिमेंबर, सेंट्रल आइडिया इज ओनली व्हाट इज रिटन इन द पैसेज. ओके, सो बी इज नॉट रिटन इन द पैसेज, तो ये हो नहीं सकता. लेट्स लुक एट सी. Public policy should ensure that competencies and achievements of young people are aligned with their expectation. Okay, तो पब्लिक पॉलिसी को एंश्योर करना पड़ेगा कि कॉम्पिटेंसी एंड अचीवमेंट्स, what are the skills and what are the achievements of young people, they are matching with their expectation. That means the expectation of the student and his competency, his achievement match up. Okay, I'll put a star on this. Okay, I'll look at the next one also. India is not going to take advantage of the democratic dividend unless some school pass outs go back to agriculture. तो कह रहा है जो डेमोग्राफी से एडवांटेज है, द पॉपुलेशन बीइंग सो लार्ज, India will not be able to take advantage of that unless some of the people who pass out from school and go back to agriculture. But the problem is that the passage is not talking about number one, demographic dividend, number two, that children need to go back to agriculture. So D is not a very good option for us. So we come back and we say, okay, C has to be our only option that will work for as the central idea of this passage. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. Passage number 2. Again, I'm going to give you a minute to read this. It's a very short passage, and then there will be 2 questions based on this. Oh, 3, 4 questions based on it. So we will do that. Okay. Let's read. Let's take 2 minutes, read the passage, and then we will cover the questions based on this one. I'm just muting myself. All right, 1 minute is over. Let us take a look at this passage. So the passage is very simple. It says we take it for granted now. मतलब हम सोच लेते कि ये है क्या है, that science has a social responsibility. The idea would not have occurred to Newton or Galileo. They did not care for science having a social responsibility. They thought of science as an account of the world as it is. So it was, what is the world? That's science. And the only responsibility that they acknowledged was to tell the truth. So their job was to only speak the truth. The idea that science is a social enterprise is modern, and it began at the Industrial Revolution. So, after the Industrial Revolution, or once the Industrial Revolution happened, that's when we said that science has a social responsibility. Now, we are surprised that we cannot trace a social sense further back. We want to, but it's not there. Because, and why are we surprised? Because we nurse an illusion that the Industrial Revolution ended a golden age. So our thought is that there was a golden age that was going. Then came the Industrial Revolution, which ended the golden age, and you came to this age of corruption and whatever, right? But this is not true, because prior to Industrial Revolution, there was no social responsibility of science. So where is the golden age? It is not there, right? All right. So let's take a look at our questions. What assumption about science is commonly held today? It comes from the very first line, that science has a social responsibility. So science is now considered to have a social responsibility. Science has always been free from any social obligations, has always been free. No, after Industrial Revolution it is not. ठीक है ना? उसके पहले it was free, अभी नहीं है. तो 2 is not correct. ये extreme option है, तो eliminate कर सकते हैं. Scientific research today is entirely focused on economic growth. Scientific रिसर्च का फोकस पूरा का पूरा इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ पे. पैसेज ने बात ही नहीं करी इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ की, तो ये तो पूरा एलियन है. पैसेज बात कर रहा है किसी चीज की, आप किसी चीज की बात कर रहे हो, तो हटा देते हैं. लेट्स लुक एट द नेक्स्ट वन. Okay, social responsibility in science is an outdated concept. No, this is false. Passage says it is a current concept, so therefore 4 is incorrect. So of these options, only option 1 will be correct. All right, let's look at the next one. What was the viewpoint of scientists like Newton and Galileo regarding social responsibility? So they thought of science as an account of the world as it is, and their responsibility was to tell the truth. So this is what you have to identify. So they did not consider science to have a social responsibility. Yes, I'll put a star on this. Newton and Galileo believed science should shape social norms. No, their thought was science will tell the truth. So 2 is false. They both advocated for modern scientific ethics. Again, is false, because the passage does not say anything like that. They focused on using science to address social problems. No, we know they did not. So the correct answer here is going to be option number 1, that these people, Newton or Galileo, they did not care to make science have a social responsibility. That was not their thought. All right, let's look at question number 10. According to Newton and Galileo, what was the primary responsibility of science? We've said it. Their responsibility was to tell the truth. So to provide an accurate account of the world and uphold the truth. Yes, that is what they have said. An account of the world as it is. So accurate and tell the truth. To solve immediate social, they did not care about social issues. Social की बात ही नहीं करी है. So 2 cannot be the answer. To foster technological innovations, no, they're looking at just telling the truth. To challenge political systems with scientific knowledge. So political system की तो बिल्कुल भी बात नहीं करी थी, ये बिल्कुल ही out of context है. So therefore correct answer will be option number 1 for us. Okay. I hope सबको आंसर समझ में आ रहे हैं. Alright, question number 11 देखते हैं. When did the perception of science as a social enterprise originate? तो science social enterprise है, ये कब से शुरू हुआ? तो again, the passage says it very clearly. It begins at the Industrial Revolution. So was it during the Industrial Revolution? Yes. In the time of Newton and Galileo? No. After their time. In ancient civilizations? No. At the end of the 20th century? No. Not at the end of the 20th century. It was during the Industrial Revolution. So the correct answer will be option number 1. All right, let's look at the next question. What misconception is highlighted regarding the Industrial Revolution and the social role of science? So the misconception is that Industrial Revolution ended the golden age, right? So there is an illusion that Industrial Revolution marked the end of golden age, and that's your correct answer. It is widely believed that the Industrial Revolution diminished scientific development. This is not mentioned in the passage. This is not there. So, this is something that's alien. The Industrial Revolution introduced a decline in social responsibility. No, this is the opposite. It started the increase of social responsibility. So, false according to the passage cannot be my answer. Look at 4. Scientific progress has been traced far back to ancient civilization. एंशियंट सिविलाइजेशंस वी हैव नॉट इवन स्पोकन अबाउट, हमने बात भी नहीं करी है एंशियंट सिविलाइजेशन की, तो 4 तो हो ही नहीं सकता है इसका करेक्ट आंसर. सो करेक्ट आंसर होगा ऑप्शन नंबर 1. ऑलराइट, चलो लास्ट क्वेश्चन पे आ जाते हैं. आज का लास्ट क्वेश्चन है गाइस. आई होप सबने लाइक और शेयर कर दिया होगा सेशन को और सब्सक्राइब भी किया होगा. Which one of the following statement best reflects the thinking of the author about science? तो ऑथर क्या सोचता है वो बताना है हम. Science must value the commitment of the scientist. Science is a product of civilized society and must be used for promotion of scientific awareness in people. Industrial revolution was made possible by the advancements in science. Science must pursue truth and but be responsible for social welfare. Now, the author essentially has said that science does have a social responsibility. He also says that science, people thought that science was, it had a duty to tell the truth. So what the author probably is saying is that science must pursue truth but be responsible for social welfare. Industrial revolution was made possible by advancements in science. Yes, but is that what we are really saying in the passage? No. Let's look at B. Science is a product of civilized society. This we don't know. And science must value the commitment of the scientists. Again, we don't know if that is what the author wanted to tell you. Author probably wanted to tell you that science must pursue truth, but also be responsible for social welfare. I hope you got that. Thank you so much, guys. I hope today's session was helpful. Please remember, every week, same time, same place, we'll be here. Remember to hit like, share, and subscribe so that all of us are on the same page. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. I hope today was helpful. और सेशंस कोई भी फीडबैक के लिए प्लीज नीचे कमेंट बॉक्स में कमेंट करना ताकि हम नेक्स्ट सेशन को और भी अच्छा बना सकें. कोई स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करने, कोई स्पेसिफिक चीजें डिस्कस करनी है, वो भी आप कमेंट बॉक्स में डाल सकते हो, तो हम उसको डिस्कस करेंगे. थैंक यू सो मच एवरीवन. हैव अ नाइस डे. बाय बाय.